The British Army are here to save Christmas during the strikes, but not everybody is happy about it. For one, The Guardian is having a meltdown. Oh, what a Christmas. Everybody thought that 2022 we're going to have a normal Christmas, finally, after 2 years of lockdowns and restrictions and everything else. No, because we're having strike after strike after strike, and it's not just your frontline, low-paid public services. Everybody's striking, even the middle-class privileged civil servants on the fast-track system, which we're going to talk about later today, who get up to £55,000. They're going on strike. I'm not sure what's going on, but the British political right usually come up with the one solution when everything goes wrong. Bring on the army. But sometimes it's actually relevant. And this time the army are here to help. The Guardian is not too happy about this because they've written this article saying, well, the Tories are on the fire. Do you know why? Because they're using the army to act as strike breakers, to come and actually do the job of the public sector workers like the nurses and everybody else. What's the point? Yeah, because they're angry. By the way, it's not the workers. This is the trade union members, the trade union barons, and the Guardian who are basically saying, oh, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of going on strike if you use the military to basically do the job that the strikers are refusing to do. The problem here is that this is actually quite insulting, not just to the British people, but to the army. Because when you have soldiers in the army, young soldiers on £22,000, yet they are still loyal to the crown, they're still loyal to the country, and they are basically sacrificing and giving up their own Christmas time to go and save the country by actually helping out during the strikes. They are not getting a pay rise, but they're not going on strikes. And again, this is not really to say, well, all those people who are going on strike get back to work. No, because there is a definite problem with the system. Not just the cost of living crisis, not just the government ministers not listening to the workers. No, there's a whole package of a crisis that's been going on. A systemic issue with the way we've actually arranged our economy and every industry that's been basically in the name of public ownership. Nothing has actually been reformed. So the moment something happens, like inflation going up, or there's an economic lack of growth, the whole system comes down. Who's going to change it? None of the people in the establishment. Now, when it comes to this army versus, for example, NHS staff, we should really be careful not to turn it into a divisive narrative. Like, oh, well, you have to pick between the army or the NHS workers. Because the fight is not really about between them. The fight is between, of course, the socialist trade union leaders who are manipulating the public and the government ministers who are absolutely idiotic and incompetent. And people who get hurt are the patients, the taxpayers, the nurses, the doctors, and also all the other public sector workers. Not really just about the NHS. But let's just remind ourselves of what The Guardian is all about. Should we take any advice from The Guardian? I went through their website today to find out their latest opinion pieces on their website. Well, let's go through some of them as a reminder. As a black American, I say the UK needs new thinking on race. The Royals could lead that. Okay, this is Keith McGee, focusing on the priorities that matters to Britain. Just go focus on America, Keith. Okay, next. Oh yes, this is Enver Solomon talking about the restaurateur, senior doctor. Rishi Sunak's cruel plan would have deported both of these people. This is about illegal migration because we still have a number of people who have remained here illegally, and they say, well, they're about to get deported, and that's not fair because they're working. Well, if they don't have the documents, it's going to be very difficult to defend it. Enver. Next. Oh dear God. Owen Jones. The right says strikes are abusive and wicked. I say they have helped build our society. Oh, okay, calm down, Owen. This country is not built on socialist strikes. This country is built on hard work and good governance. I'm talking about back in the day, for about 10 minutes. This country is built on its people. It's the nation of shoplifters, shopkeepers. At these days, it's actually a nation of shoplifters rather than shopkeepers. The state is now the new thief of the nation. But that Owen Jones, let's just ignore Owen Jones. Next, Zoe Williams. Of course, Zoe Williams has written an article. Mick Lynch is right. No, he's not. The BBC has swallowed the anti-strike agenda of the Daily Mail. Zoe Williams, the BBC are on your side. The BBC have been talking about and promoting the strikes on a regular basis. Yet, in the eyes of Zoe Williams and Owen Jones and all these guys, the BBC is right-wing. We can't win with these people. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back in half an hour. We're going to give you the latest update on the EU corruption and the EU crisis that is bringing down the European Parliament. So the best thing you can do, subscribe to the channel, click on a bell next to it. I'm Tousi and we are the media.